All right, well, let me just start this over. Okay, good evening, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. We are going to be doing a question and answer segment. So we're going to let people log in and type up their questions, and as they come along, we're going to read them and answer them to the best of our abilities. And as far as this wonderful device is called, it is a smoke machine. I get people asking me all the time about it. So finally, I said, you know what? I'm going to bring it out here and say this is what it is, and this is what we can do with it. So, as far as the smoke machine is concerned, it's great for looking for vacuum leaks and emission leaks. I got this one. Mind you, you can get whatever design you like, but I love simplicity. The reason why I got this is because it has two buttons and a port where I can plug it in to get smoke. So, long story short, red is for the smoke, green is for the air. I hooked this up to the battery, black to negative, red to positive. I put this in a hose and I put it in the system of which I'm looking for, and I look for the smoke. And wherever the smoke is coming out of, that's gonna tell you where your leak is coming from. I cannot tell you how many times this has saved me from exhausting hours of looking for or to diagnose a vehicle when this can cut that time in half, sometimes even faster. But this is it. I just had a bunch of people ask about it, so I said, okay, I'm finally going to put it out there so people can see it.
I've been asked on TikTok, which good quality diagnostic scanner do you recommend I buy?
Oh, okay. With that said, the easiest one that I've dealt with in the past. Oh, thank you, Gabby. Oh, just so I have it. Okay. Any case, the one I have is called the D8X tool. Just to kind of give you an idea, this is what it looks like. That's funny. I was just talking about it with my daughter. But any case, I got this one. I want to say was like the mid range one. This one was about $800-900 at the time when I got it. But any case, the reason why I like it is because it services a lot of vehicles. And as far as live data is concerned, it's open to a lot of other vehicles. My Snap-on one, it works too as well, but it's really more geared for domestic vehicles versus import vehicles. My X tool, I can actually read like misfire live data like on a Toyota or a Nissan or a Kia. Which is nice. It just makes things a whole lot easier to diagnose. And then also, if I need to shut off like a fuel injector, or if I want to read the airflow chart for I say airflow chart. If I want to read the airflow through a mass airflow sensor, most scanners will do that, but this gives you a graph, which is really nice to see. Most of the time, for mass airflow sensors, it's grams per second, and if the live specification is off, then it tells you, hey, look in that area because of X. You could have a vacuum leak. The sensor itself could be cracked. You could have a wire harness issue. It's things like this that really help in order to help you diagnose vehicles a whole lot faster and a lot more efficient. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, what was the next question? I'm sorry.
A lot of people are coming in.
Oh, okay. So hopefully that helps you. You don't necessarily have to get that particular one. I just got it because I like something that it covers a blanket of vehicles that I could cover at the same time.
Hey bro, good evening. Does a bad cat make a metallic sound under a load? Vontae asked on Facebook.
It can. It just depends on what happened inside the catalytic converter. Most of the time, the screen mesh inside, if it breaks apart, it'll sound like I guess marbles in a can, and maybe not so loud. It's like a fast rhythmic pattern. But again, it depends on the car. It depends on what type of setup the car has. But It does not. It would not surprise me in the least if you heard a squealing sound, metallic sound, a pinging sound, a rattling sound from the catalytic converter. But I will tell you this: if you hear noises, definitely from the catalytic converter, it's time to replace it. There's no way you're going to save it.
On Facebook, you got a question. It's a 2018 GMC Acadia Denali, a nice car.
GMC Acadia. Okay. 18. Oh, for the most part, yes, it is. The one thing I'll say about that particular vehicle is once you hit the, I'll say 140, 150K mark, they tend to have transmission issues. But a lot of that is because the transmission is not being serviced in the first place. That and motor mount issues are a big common thing with those vehicles. So if you can at least when the problem occurs, keep them small versus letting them gather and get larger and larger and larger. It's a whole lot easier to maintain the car. So one thing I will say about it is if you have a family and you're going out on a family trip, it's very comfortable. It has a decent amount of luxuries inside. What else I would say about the vehicle? It's not too much of a pain to maintain when it comes to maintenance cost. I will say that. Now, depending on the version of what you get, they have some where they're like the HID headlights, which stands for high intense discharge. Those particular bulbs are pretty pricey, but if you get the ones with just regular bulbs, you can get the bulb for like $15-20. But again, everything depends on your application. If you want the super bright lights on them, well, okay. They work, but just know that they comes with the higher expense. But overall, look, find out what works best for you, and maintain the vehicle as best you can. Don't let problems grow into something just catastrophic, and then now you're in a world of hurt.
Ernest W. Butler asked us on the other live too. Is it easy to steal a push and start button start car?
It depends on what kind of car it is. It's probably not the best question to be promoting. But I hate to say it, with as advanced as technology has gotten, they are making it easier to steal cars without realizing it. I would say the one that's probably the most common that people steal are the Hyundais and Kias. But I don't know how, and nor do I want to learn, and I'm not going to say how to do it either. So, can it be done? Yeah, and it's to the point where you don't need to break into the car anymore, which is really, really sad. But I don't know what happened with technology getting better and better, but yet we're making it easier for thieves to steal it. So there has to be some sort of software that can be implemented to prevent that from happening. But that's not my call. Crime is not something I want to figure out or investigate or be involved in. So I'll just leave that part alone.
Elmoy on TikTok said, "Can you reinstall my timing chain kit on my 2011 Escape XLT 4-cylinder? It wasn't installed good. It says it's too advanced on the scanner."
Okay, yes, that can be done. However, there are a couple of things that need to take place with that. Mind you, I need to check and make sure. But there's if you have phasers on that 4-cylinder engine, there's a possibility that the phaser itself, it could be going out of time. Because for the most part about timing chains, one nice thing about them is typically once you set it, you just place your chain on the mark and then that's it. However, there are some systems where you have to have special tools to keep everything in line and get everything up in order. So, and sometimes you end up doing the job 2 or 3 times. However, can it be done? Yes, it very well can. And for a Ford Escape, I'm pretty sure I have the special tools in order to do that job in the first place. So it's not a problem. Go ahead.
Vontae asks, I got an '06 Jetta 2.5, 172,000
Okay.
miles. I changed the notorious vac pump leak.
Okay.
What your history on this car specifically?
Okay, like just the common problems. And it's a Volkswagen, what?
Jetta
Volkswagen.
06 2.5.
I would say the most common problem with those vehicles, one, oil leaks. Oh my God. Just pay attention to them hardcore. Because one thing about the oil leaks, once it starts leaking onto other devices on the car, it acts like a soft acid and chews up everything. Next thing I would say is water pump and timing belts. Those are definitely some big issues that stand out. Particularly the water pumps. They just leak at random, for whatever reason. Just pay attention to them. And another thing I'll say is the radiators. It's a typical radiator, but one thing I'll say is because of the way the fans are set up and how they're in motion when it's activated, it kind of hides the leak from the radiator, and you'll see like a pinkish, or depending on what color antifreeze you have, but you typically see a large residue in like a massive sprayed pattern. And if you see that, that's going to be your radiator. And then I want to say there's a fan module on those too that goes bad all the time. You'll get a check engine light for that, but again, it's like most cars, but I'm going to say for Volkswagen in particular, don't let the large problem turn into a large problem, and that's how you can keep your cost factor down. And I will say this, maintenance-wise, it's going to be higher than your average car, but you have to make sure that the small problems stay small. Don't let them grow and turn into something worse than what you want.
Sufficient Armed Defense on TikTok says, thank you for being a trusted shop with integrity.
Oh, thank you very much for believing so, and we definitely plan to keep that up, and hopefully we'll see you sometime.
Elmoy says, I've been driving it for almost a year like that, and it turns off and shakes sometimes. About the car that...
The timing?
Yeah.
Okay, that's... Well, I will say this. If your timing is off, it's definitely going to cause the car to run sluggish, particularly with acceleration. And if it's bad enough idle, and if it's real bad, then it won't even run at all. But the fact that it's able to run, that's a good indication that the timing isn't too far off, but it just needs to be corrected. But you definitely don't want to keep that up, because you're doing more damage than what you want to see, because if it's bad enough, you could cause, not saying yours is actually bad, but it's possible that a valve can be bent, or you could burn a valve, because too much fuel is getting into places where it shouldn't. Mind you, if it's running advanced, it technically means it's running lean. But with it running lean, there's an old saying: running lean is mean. And by me saying that, it just means the leaner you run it, the more power it generally produces. But if it runs too lean, that's when damage starts taking place. So because it's running advanced, it can very well trick yours should be a PCM. It could very well trick your PCM into say, hey, let me dump as much fuel as I can to compensate. Okay, well, now you're creating an environment that's not ideal from the engine, and prolonged use like that just prematurely wears it out.
DG on TikTok says, my 2003 E46 BMW is blowing white smoke when letting off the gas, then accelerating again.
Okay, what type of BMW?
2003 E46.
All right, okay. Oh, excuse me. Okay, in that particular situation, you got two things that can be going on. One, your valve seals to your engine is burning oil, or allowing oil to leak past the seals, causing your engine to burn oil. And depending on the setup you have, you could have your PCV valve system sucking in more oil than what it should, and it'll cause that issue as well. So if you're to check, obviously you want to check all the small things first. Look for vacuum leaks. Look for anything that can cause oil consumption. That's so. And I say that, and I say that like this. This is kind of indirect, but a tune-up that can help bring down the smoke, because typically when it's smoking like that, it's not burning properly unless your engine is just burning that much oil. But if it's not burning properly, then of course you're going to get smoke in the fashion that you're talking about. Another one, I doubt this would be your setup, but if the timing is off, and for BMWs, most of the time the timing is actually pretty good. But if it's off, that can cause smoking issues as well. But if it was, you'd have way more drivability issues. Acceleration would be poor, things of that nature. So I doubt that's you. Another thing I would say is, hopefully that's not your case, but if you have any internal engine damage, okay, yes, of course, that's going to cause excessive smoke. But again, you would have a lot more drivability issues. So the most common where you don't feel issues right away, it's either about some sort of defect issue with your PCV valve system, or the valve seals on your engine are burning oil, which would require you to remove the head and send the upper half of your engine to a machine shop. They get everything back into specs with new seals, put everything back together, and then you're able to drive. Or you could do, probably not the most favorite, but you could replace the entire motor, and but obviously make sure you replace it with a quality one, and that'll take care of your smoking issues too. But without getting too deep, look into your PCV valve system first.
Joseph Mobile says, well, Bonnie's doing live feeds now.
Well, yes, we've been doing it for a while, but thank you for noticing.
Mac Adams says, I have a 2014 Volkswagen Passat TSI.
Okay.
I changed my spark plugs. It still idles high when first started, and it drank oil a lot. And white smoke out of the exhaust. Did I already do this one?
I don't think so. Not for a Volkswagen TSI.
Okay.
Okay. What type of Volkswagen?
It's a 2014 Passat TSI, and it has 141,000 miles.
Did they say what type of engine they have?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna assume you have the 2.0 turbo engine. Okay, or it might be just the 2.0. Any case, they on the Passats, they have a PCV valve that's, I want to say is part of the valve cover. If not, it's very hard to describe, but it will be mounted on the valve cover. I can tell you that much. What you can do is start up the car and listen for hissing noises, and if you hear one loud enough on the PCV valve, it'll be kind of like a flat disc that's about maybe a centimeter thick. But anyways, you want to take your thumb and put it over the hole. If you do that and the engine goes from revving high to calming down, okay, the PCV valve, that's what you need to replace. The reason being is because the diaphragm on those loves to break. And when it does, it makes the engine run rough. It can make your idle rev high because it's sucking air into the system that it shouldn't. If that's not the case, then the best thing to do is start looking for vacuum leaks to see to see where you could be leaking air in places where you're not supposed to. You could take, I'm not a fan of it, but if the car is cold, you can take some brake cleaner, spray around.
It's a 2.0 and it's a turbo.
Okay, yeah, I figured that. Okay.
I hear hissing.
He does hear hissing? Okay, then more than likely you have a vacuum leak. All right, so cheap trick, just get like a can of brake cleaner. Do this when the car is cold. Start it up and spray brake cleaner in the area where you're hearing the hiss. If you hear the engine struggle or just start, if you hear a dynamic change in the engine's performance, focus there. That's where your leak is going to be. If you have access to something like a smoke machine like this, you can use that, and that'll help you identify the leak. But the fact that you hear hissing and the idle is loud, and it's going to be the turbo engine, I can tell you for sure you have a vacuum leak. It's just a matter of where it's coming from. So typically, if it's loud enough, brake cleaner should point it out relatively easy. And you can get a can of brake cleaner for like $3-4. So try that. Make sure you do this when the car is cold. And that should help you identify the leak. And after that, replace the component that's giving you a problem. It should run much better after that. Okay.
Wilshon Gates on Facebook says, I have a 2012 Ford Taurus. I put in my O2 sensor, but it takes off very slow, and it takes a while to gain the speed that what could that be? My bad.
That's unfortunately that's too generic. So it sounds like your check engine light is on. It'd be nice to know what code you have, but basically what you're saying is a poor acceleration or poor drivability issues. Okay, just to kind of give you a decent list, if it's bad enough, your catalytic converters can be clogged. And if that's the case, it's going to prevent your engine from breathing well. You could have a bad air filter. Again, the engine's basically suffocating. You could have a bad mass airflow sensor. For you to say oxygen sensor, I'm assuming there was a code for it, but it's hard to say. Maybe you had you had a code saying that it was running rich, it was running lean. You could have poor gas quality. The fuel pump itself could be weak. There's so many things to go off of it. It really have to narrow it down at least to what the code is, so that way you can go from an encyclopedia to maybe like a 10-page book. Go ahead.
Damien says, I got a 2006 Chevy Impala. Every time I make a turn, it starts to pull itself.
Okay. There's with the Chevy Impalas, what they're notorious for are the lower control arms going bad, and the rack and pinion systems. After a long period of time, what happens is the rack and pinion will get wore out, and then you make a turn, and for whatever reason, it'll want to kind of pull itself and turn without your assistance. Obviously, that's not a big deal, but you obviously don't want that, because in an emergency situation, that you need full control. You don't need the car controlling itself into a situation you don't need to have. So I would look at lower control arms and the rack and pinion itself. So another thing I would probably look at too as well, you may as well just look at your shocks, make sure they're not leaking. The only reason why I say that is if one side is leaning more than the other, then that can also cause the excessive pull or turn, because more of that weight is on that side, and it's going to cause you to turn. Think about it like this. Let's say you get out of your car and you just came back from the grocery store, and you have 2 gallons of milk on one arm, and then you have nothing on this side. But with that saying, you tend to, one arm will slouch more than the other, and because of that, if you were running, you would tend to you would tend to turn towards the weight of the milk that you're holding. The car is the same way. So control arms, the reason why I mentioned those is because the bushings wear out and there's excessive play. And when that happens, again, where the excessive play is at, it's going to want to turn in the fashion where the play is. The rack and pinion, that's just more of a defect of the rack and pinion where it'll kind of want to turn on its own and stay there. But so long as the car hasn't been in accidents, it's the rack and pinion is basically just wearing out, and it's time to replace it. Okay. Go ahead.
Brett says on TikTok, 2011 Buick Regal burns oil terribly.
Okay.
Can't keep oil in between
Oil intervals.
between oil changes.
Okay, and he wants to know the fix.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The fix that you're going to need is going to be extensive. Basically, the valve seals on your cylinder heads, they're no longer doing their job. And it's what has to happen is, I'm not saying that your heads are warped, but the heads need to come off and the valve seals need to be replaced. That's the biggest reason for any engine to burn oil. Yours may not be to the point where you see white smoke, but if it's to the point where, let's say every 3,000 miles you do an oil change, but when you get closer to 3,000 miles, you check the dipstick and there's like barely any oil on the stick. That's generally going to be more of a valve seal job. Now, as far as other things like piston rings and things of that nature, if, let's say, your piston rings were bad, you would experience way more drivability issues than normal. Like your compression would be poor, your acceleration would be very poor. If it's bad enough, it just won't start at all. But people, when they have engines that burn high levels of oil, is typically going to be a valve seal issue.
2017 Honda Accord only throws throwing a cylinder 1 code. New spark plugs and coils. Samantha says on TikTok.
Cylinder 1 code?
Mm-hmm.
Misfire code? Does it say misfire?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it doesn't say misfire. Just saying that
just
there's
says
only a code for cylinder 1, essentially.
Okay. For it to be specific to that cylinder, generally it's going to be a misfire of some kind. So
She commented and said yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, and they said they did spark plugs, they did coil.
Oh, yeah, spark plugs and coils.
Okay, great. Okay, you've done those basic things. Great. Now the next thing I want you to do is for your fuel injectors, before you buy it, I want you or at least have someone move cylinder 1 fuel injector, move it to cylinder number 2, or move it to another cylinder that you know is good. If that fault transfers, replace the fuel injector. Now, if it doesn't, okay, now you need to get to the point where you're going to have to do a compression test, at least with that particular cylinder, and see what's going on. For the most part, with most engines, when you do a compression test, you typically don't want more than 10 to 15 psi difference. So let's say you do a compression test. I'm just using this as an example, by the way. Let's say the spec is supposed to be 180 psi. Let's say you do the compression test. Cylinder 1 is at 140, and the rest of them are at 170. Okay, well now you have a defect with that particular cylinder, and you're going to have to open the engine up in order to see what's going on. In that scenario, where you could be looking at valves, a piston ring, a piston itself. Sometimes the valve is not sitting well enough, or sometimes you might have a valve with a chip in it. So, but you're not going to know until you open it up. But before you tear everything apart, before you buy another thing, stop. Take fuel injector number 1 and move it to any known good cylinder, and clear your code and see if it transfers. If it does transfer, replace your fuel injector. Go ahead.
Let's see. Jan on Facebook says,
Okay.
Every time I press the accelerator, I get vibrations, and when I take my foot off of it, it stops. What might that be? Can you give us what type of car you
What
have?
type of car is it?
What type of car I'm with here?
Okay. Well, I'll answer it to the best of my abilities. Depending on what kind of car you have, we're going to pretend it's a front-wheel drive. There's way too many front-wheel drive vehicles to choose from, so we're just going to say a front-wheel drive car. Most of the time, when you press the gas and it's vibrating during acceleration, CV axles are a very common issue with front-wheel drive vehicles. The reason being is they have. Essentially, they do have bearings inside them, and in a drive position, the bearings will lean in a particular position. And when you are in more of a coast position, where you take your foot off the gas and you're just kind of cruising, that's more of a coast position. And then it goes from the bearings in the CV axle go from one position to another, and the vibration will calm down. And then
It's a 2018 Toyota
Prius.
Premio, Premio.
Okay. Well, that's
front-wheel drive.
okay. Well, we're gonna go front-wheel drive. And to be honest with you, as you were saying that, Toyota was the first thing that came to mind because, particularly the passenger side CV axle, that's the one that because it's much longer, it has a much greater area for damage to take place. And for the most part, they usually have a carrier bearing that's built into the axle. But by the joints or the carrier bearing, it'll give you that issue, and it'll vibrate sometimes violently during acceleration. But the moment you let off and start to cruise, everything will kind of settle and kind of go back to normal. And a lot of the times, if you accelerate fast enough, it'll get past that vibration point and then smooth out. But you obviously don't want to keep that up because if it's moving in a vibrating and violent vibrating way, it'll actually do damage to the transmission. So one thing you can do is you can have the car raised up high enough to where you can get underneath it, and you're going to need somebody else there. Obviously, have the car on jack stands, and have somebody press the gas, put it in drive and press the gas. And if you have a traction control button, press it so that way you can turn it off. Anyway, press the gas. Watch your CV axle. If the rod is spinning straight and smooth, your axle is okay. But if you see a lot of vibration or out of round movement, go ahead and replace the axle. Okay, go ahead. And if you can help it, just do both. If one's going bad, the other one's coming along with it. So just do it as a pair and be done. But obviously verify, make sure that's your issue first. Go ahead. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, sorry. All righty. I'm going to talk about the smoke machine. The reason why I'm bringing it up is because I've been asked multiple times about it, and I finally said, you know what, I'm going to put it on a live and let people know what it is and how to use it. It's very simple. This particular one, it has a green button and a red button. Red is for smoke. You hook it up to your battery. Red goes to positive, black goes to negative. And then this particular portion, this is where the smoke comes out of. You plug it into your air intake system or emission system. You use it in order to help you find a leak. Wherever the smoke comes out of, that's where the leak is going to be exposed, and that is basically telling you that's the component to fix. The main reason why I got this is because vacuum leaks or emission leaks take a long time to figure out. So you want to do everything you can to reduce your time in doing so. This tool does that. It doesn't. So if you're looking for one, you don't have to necessarily get this, but It just helps cut down on time on your diagnostic. Okay, go ahead.
Lewis says, does business ever slow down for you? If not, how do you keep business going?
Business does slow down for us. But it's just a matter of you finding ways to bring business up. What I've done in the past is typically from October to December, business tends to slow down. Holidays are kicking in, and people aren't necessarily so worried about their vehicles. However, I will say this: getting close to Thanksgiving time, which to me is probably going to be the biggest time of the year where people are traveling. I would think Christmas, but I want to say Thanksgiving is like the real number one. But in any case, at least for on the road driving. Any case, what I start doing is I start telling people, hey, bring your vehicle in for a checkup to make sure your vehicle is road ready for the road. And make sure it's safe. And most people, by me telling them that, and not me just trying to sell them just anything and everything to them, but you legitimately say, hey, your tires are wore out, or you might need an air filter, or it's time for an oil change. Hey, your brakes are at 15%. What else? Check out the fluids. And depending on where they're going and depending on how they've treated the vehicle, let's say their vehicle has nothing but water in it, or at least, let's say 80% water, when it obviously is supposed to be antifreeze. But let's say they're going, I don't know, to Colorado. Well, most people know going to Colorado around, I want to say November, December time, temperatures are going to be pretty cold. And the last thing you need is to have a car full of water and have barely any antifreeze in it. You drive out there, park it overnight, and then your radiator goes bad, your hoses go bad. I mean, everything goes bad because you have the wrong fluid in your system. So you'd be very surprised how often you can catch things like that, and you can prevent a lot of issues from occurring just by pointing out those things. And when the customer understands that, hey, this is what it's going to take for you to drive from point A to point B in the safest manner, and they don't have to worry about some surprise tow bill or repair, they love you for it. I can definitely say that as proof. I've even had customers come back, and this is going to sound silly. I've had customers come back where they, let's say a daughter or a son is going off to college, and they're leaving. They're going to school for the fall, but because the car's been neglected in such a fashion, we fix it during that summer break, and then the parent or the aunt or the grandma will come back and say, hey, you guys did such a great job. My son or daughter went to Oklahoma or Arkansas or California, wherever they're going, and they'll bring back a plate of cookies or donuts or whatever the case may be. Those things sound small, but just look at it like, hey, this is their way of showing appreciation, aside from the fact that they paid you to fix the car. Okay, go ahead.
Armando says 2018 Ford F250 6.7 has a P0420 code. Any thoughts?
P0420? 420. Okay. And it's a 6.7?
Yes.
What type of vehicle?
250. Ford.
It's a diesel. Okay. All right. Well, and in your situation, your catalytic converter is saying that it's below threshold. Now, I'll admit we don't work on diesels very often. However, they're somewhat similar into some regard. But in any case, before you just replace the catalytic converter, one thing that needs to be recognized is, why did it go bad? Are you burning excessive oil? Are more contaminants going through your engine than what they should? I'm not so sure about the DFE fluid that you're supposed to pour in, but is that mixture off? Are you burning excessive fuel in that catalytic converter? I mean, in your system. So all those things need to be addressed first. You need to make sure that the engine is running at its top peak condition, so that way when you do put the catalytic converter on there, it doesn't go out prematurely. Because I would imagine, I mean, for gasoline vehicles, catalytic converters, they tend to be pricey. So I can only imagine for a diesel, it's going to be much more expensive. So that's why all those pre-checks definitely need to be done. But I can definitely tell you this. The P0420 code is definitely going to be a catalytic converter, bank one. But make sure all what I just said earlier is make sure those are in check, and if they are, then you can go ahead and replace it, and you should be worry-free from there. Okay, go ahead.
Jesus Save John 14:6 on TikTok says, "Love your videos. Wish you were in California. I'd take my car seat without hesitation."
Well, thank you very much. I've never been to California, but a lot of you guys out there have definitely said hello. So I mean, thank y'all very much.
Don asked on TikTok, said, "This is your shop?" ?
Yes, it is. I've had my shop for 10 plus years. We've been in the Conroe location for we just made a year, or a little over a year. But on Veterans Memorial, well, if you're familiar with Houston, we were there for 10 years. And it started off as a 1-bay, and then it grew into 2 bays, and then parking became a disaster, and then we went to a 5-bay. And then from that point forward, we were doing rocking and rolling over there. Then our landlord decided to double the rent with no warning, and I probably shouldn't be. And without that warning, we had to find something as fast as possible. And the shop over here is what was best. Mind you, during that time, I was trying to find something closer, but it obviously didn't work out. But here we are. I'll admit the shop over here is smaller, but it definitely services our needs. And as far as parking is concerned, it's no longer is an issue for me. But I'm thankful to be here. The people of Conroe have been nothing but welcoming, and they've all had positive things to say. The community out here is very strong. I have to admit that. A lot of other people were telling me, "Hey, Conroe, you got to be careful out there because of such and such." Well, I mean, it's either sink or swim with me. So we chose to come out here, and we're swimming. So here we are. Yes, this is my shop, and I plan to keep it running as long as my body allows.
Can we do an ending for the YouTube people?
Oh, okay. Well, all right, fine.
Because we've passed like 43 minutes.
Oh, and they do that cutoff thing. Okay, fine. Okay, well, people of YouTube, thank you all very much for tuning in. We'll definitely do another segment for questions tomorrow. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot we're doing a marathon. Okay, so what time are we doing this tomorrow?
Let's do it earlier.
Well, okay, yeah, it's a marathon. Okay, well then, you know what? Let's say 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock Texas time or Central Time. We're gonna start the marathon, and we'll do another question and answer segment and go as long as we can. So that way, whatever question you got, write it down, remember it in the fashion that you see fit. Ask us then, and we'll get back to you. But again, YouTube, thank y'all for viewing. If you want to continue, go to TikTok or Facebook, and if you have any questions, ask there, because we'll be on for another 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be on for another 15 minutes. So, any case, thank you guys again.